Is there a best way of holding the guitar pick? No. Not really. Not in an absolute sense. There is a conventional or what's become a standard way of holding it. And for many, that might very well be the best way. For me, it is. I've tried different things. And the conventional way is you just curl in your finger, relax your fingers, curl them in, lay the pick on the side of the index finger and sandwich it with your thumb. And that's basically it. Conventional way. But there are definitely exceptions, and some very famous players who, some of them depart a couple degrees from it, and others radically so. Remember also that holding the pick is just part of the way someone picks. The mechanics, the motion of the arm and everything, those all play a factor. Even what kind of pick. You know, if you're using a really tiny pick or a really large one, that might also influence how you're going to hold the pick. The flexibility, the hardness of the pick, all of those things play a role to some extent. So don't get too fixated on just looking at how someone holds a pick. Watch the motion, see what other things are going into that, because that may give you some insight into why might that player be holding the pick in that manner. However you decide to hold the pick, you want to make sure there is no strain or stress. Anything that goes against sort of your natural motion or how your body is designed. So you don't want to do anything that goes against that. Because if you find something that perhaps maybe puts a lot of strain and stress on your wrist, for example, you might not notice that in a week or a month or a year, maybe even 5 years. But the probability is that eventually it will cause problems. So I would definitely say that. I like to keep my fingers curled in, mostly because I tend to hit other knobs that I don't want to. But if you can relax your fingers and that's not an issue, then you should go for it. Now, some of the very famous players who don't hold the pick in a conventional manner, one of them is Eddie Van Halen. He held the pick in anything other than a conventional way, right? And if you compare him to even Pat Metheny, again, very different way of holding the pick. Plus, he's picking, notice he's picking with the rounded corner, not the very pointy part. So for some teachers, he fails twice, right? Then you have someone like George Benson. Again, you should watch these players play because you're not going to get the full effect of just seeing their hand in a photo. Now, if you take other players like Eric Johnson, even Django Reinhardt, yeah, when you look at the way they hold the pick, looks much more conventional, or is conventional, I suppose, by some people's standards. And that obviously works really well, or worked really well for both of them. So I would say the best way to hold the pick is ultimately the way that works best for you. If it's conventional, then so be it. But if you experiment a bit and you find, hey, the way that I pick and the motion and all that, this really feels best, it produces the best sound, the best feel for me, then congratulations, you found the best way to hold a pick.